The opening night of the Gfinity Supercars Eseries provided plenty of action.
How about the run for Madison Down? Will go 3 wide down the front straight at Monza.
Madison Down threw down an early marker.
2 out of 3 for Madison Down, getting the job done at Suzuka.
But the Shannons racing team driver faced a barrage of challenges.
Racing and winning for Walkinshaw and United.
Tonight, it's the endurance round at the holy grail of Aussie motorsport, Mount Panorama, Bathurst.
You've got to be committed. You've got to be absolutely on it.
A mistake at Bathurst will generally end your race.
Every lap, you're on the edge of dying, basically.
Nothing beats nailing a lap around Mount Panorama.
Who will be crowned the Sim King or Queen of the Mountain as the Gfinity Supercars E-Series shifts up a gear? What a way to get excited for the great race this weekend. Bathurst is coming our way tonight, sim racing style. It is the Gfinity Supercars E-Series. It's brought to you by Shannons, Bryony Ingerson as always, and Justin Ruggiero, Super 2 driver for Eggleston Motorsport. Bryony, so much fun at round 1. Tonight we go enduro racing at Bathurst.
Yeah, can't wait for the enduro tonight, but all our friends aren't here tonight. They're in the comfort of their own homes, or their own sims, I should say, which they're probably pretty happy about. But it was a great vibe last week to have them all here. A lot of them meeting, they've met online, but meeting in person for the first time, and I heard things got a little large after
kicked
wrapping up.
They had some fair afters after that one. Justin, you know this sim racing community so well. You're very much a part of that community, and we really got a vibe for just how close they are at round 1.
Yeah, no, look, it's a great to see so many good races out here and racing tonight. But yeah, I know them very well. Be interested to see how they go tonight.
So give me a background, like we were talking before we came on air about how many of these drivers that you actually know and have raced against. So give us a bit of background in what sort of formats and things have you raced with these drivers?
Some of the teams as well.
Well, the thing is, you know, all these drivers we got here tonight, I've raced against all of them.
Yeah.
Some of them have turned me around, so it'd be nice to spray them tonight. But so you know, it'd be interesting to see. Look, obviously there's some highlights, you know, with some of these drivers tonight. They're going to be hard to beat, but we'll soon find out in this 250k race.
And you've also been a teammate to Shane van Gisbergen as well. You've done plenty of racing. You're an avid iRacing star, but you've had sim racing experience in Europe as well. So really looking forward to what you have to say as we go throughout the night. But Bryony, the first round of the championship last week provided some excitement, and Madison Down was definitely best on ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's come away after race 3 with the championship lead, 126 points. Behind him, Richard Hampstead, Dane Warren for Rebel Holden Racing Team in 3rd. Then the 2 Walkinshaw Andretti United guys, Josh Rogers and Jared Filsell. But as we mentioned, Madison Down, he was in fine form, and, you know, on paper, he looked to be the one to beat tonight, taking race 1 and race 3. This was an awesome moment at Monza, 3 wide down the front straight. Now we're at Suzuka. So it's a bit of a highlights package of Madison's week last week.
It was just very comfortable. We managed to convert pole position to the race win. There's a bit going on in the background, but he managed to throw down a bit of a celebration as well. What do you know about Madison Down? How many times have you had a chance to race against him?
Look, I've raced against Madison for many, many years. Unfortunately, he beat me many times to the championship, but we were very successful against Madison, but no doubt, I mean, the guy's a whiz on a simulator. He's actually very good in real race cars as well, so no doubt tonight he's going to be very competitive.
Well, he did compete in a real race car across the weekend and participated in the Shannons Nationals, so he's gotten some practice behind the wheel of a different kind.
He also has some Aussie racing car experience as well, just like you do, leading the Aussie Racing Cars Championship. We'll switch it over to Jared Filsell because one of the guys to watch out for tonight, Walkinshaw Andretti United star, with his teammate Josh Rogers. He was our other race winner last week. It was the reverse grid race win, but pretty much dominated the race at Monza.
Yeah, and again, I know Jared very well. We used to be in the same iRacing V8 supercar team with ANZ Motorsport, so he's no stranger to winning, and he's no stranger to dealing with a lot of pressure.
So 3 races.
That profile pic, he could be an undercover agent or
Everyone
spy
was looking
or something.
very serious last week. Everyone had their race faces on. So 2 wins to Madison Down, 1 win to Jared Filsell. But one of the big highlights throughout the entire week and the big debrief that we had was talking about our Shannons classic moments. We threw out 3 ideas. We asked the fans on socials what did they think. We've picked our winning Shannons classic moment, and Bryony, it just had to be this one.
How good was this? It was a willing battle between Brenton Hobson and Dane Warren, and then Madison Down taking the inside line, getting involved as we just saw, 3 wide at Monza. Fantastic stuff. Madison Down picking up $500 as the winning Shannons classic moment. And
our home viewer. So David Neighbour picks up $500 just for selecting his favourite moment of the night. 3 wide at Monza. I'm not sure if we'll see 3 wide at Bathurst, but either way, that was pretty exciting.
I'm sure these people will do it. It wouldn't surprise me.
I want to be David's neighbour for Bathurst this weekend. He's now got $500 to put in the esky. So barbecue.
Slash barbecue, yeah. It's,
barbecue.
All of a sudden, his Bathurst Sunday just got a little bit more exciting. We will have another chance to vote for your Shannons Classic moments coming from tonight's race. So 1 race, 3 moments, and a chance to vote online for your chance to win $500 there. So make sure you get online and vote for your favourite Shannons Classic moment. Keep an eye out for what they might be tonight. We're racing at Bathurst, 250 Ks. That's 41 laps, just like the Super 2 race will be actually on Saturday. We're not too far away from a race start. So we took this lap early with Madison Down, our championship leader. Justin, you will also have the chance to race here for real for the very first time in a supercar. Take us for a lap of Mount Panorama.
Yeah, it's good to be able to do this, and I suppose I'm going to be a bit different come Thursday when I'm actually in the real race car. But again, coming up to Quarry Bend up here, up the straight, to basically get a real good run out of here. Use as much curb as Madison's done, and Madison's done a million laps around here, so I'm sure he's going to probably touch the mirror on odd occasions going through this lap. There's only 1 line through here, and you've got to make sure you get a good run up the hill here as well. Again, try and scrape the mirror on entry here, get the car to flow, and unfortunately in this car, and obviously on the gaming, if you do hit the wall, it does compromise your lap with the damage that's on this car. But again, as you can see, he's using all the track. I mean, he's leaving no stone unturned, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about Madison. He gives it everything. Coming down in here, getting ready for the dipper. You don't want to get too much air time because that compromises the lap as well. We know we don't want to really bring it up, but obviously Chaz had a big shutdown in here, and luckily he walked away with that injury. But you need to get a really good run down in here, down the Conrod straight, maximise your top speed. And I think, you know, for you, you're happy with what you're seeing so far from Madison.
That was a pretty clean run across the top. There's a reason why he's leading the championship. Hasn't had a great run in qualifying tonight by his lofty standards. We'll bring you up to date with the qualifying results shortly. But how good is this run? Down Conrod, and then you go flying through here. Will they be flat through here tonight?
Yeah, flat through here, and again, you've got to maximise your braking into here. I wouldn't use too much curb on the entry. Well, Madison's just proved me wrong there, but it does compromise your exit. I'd run on the curb, and then you really got to make sure you don't make a mistake, and all that hard work across the top can all be undone in this last corner here.
And then there's the pit entrance on the left, and it's one of the most awkward pit entrances you'll find anywhere in motorsport. You can easily get things wrong there. So a great lap from Madison down. He'll be starting a bit further down in the pack though when we go racing. And you had a chance to use the Logitech setup that we have here. We had everyone here last week, all 12 of them, but you couldn't help yourself. You had to get on there and cut a couple laps of Bathurst yourself earlier.
Yeah, I did, and I'm actually grateful for it. And I'm very, you know, familiar with the Logitech
Look
gear.
at that game face.
I know. Don't pick up the apexes, whatever you do. I'll get drilled by Shane. So, yeah, basically, you know, I'm very familiar with the Logitech gear, and yeah, I mean, it's important to get that feedback.
Yeah.
To get that relevance to the real race car, because I do a lot of laps on the simulator to prepare myself and get ready for the big weekend ahead.
Yeah, all of our competitors last week using that Logitech G29 steering wheel, and as you mentioned, with the realistic feedback. And it is important, isn't it, even though you're sim racing, to have some sort of feel back through the steering wheel and the pedals, I guess, to help you with that.
Yeah, and again, you know, it could work against you, because if you don't using the right gear, not having the right feedback, you jump into a real race car, and again, you're behind the 8 ball. So, again, it's very important you have the right setup at home, and yeah, obviously, you know, Logitech being a great partner that they are.
It was definitely an interesting talking point last week, having the drivers here using equipment that they might not be used to. So tonight they go back to using their own sims at home, and in qualifying, get the feeling that definitely changed the scenario up a little bit. We did see some different names pop up towards the top. Dane Warren has picked up his first pole award of the year, and then the two Walkinshaw and Andretti United teammates, Josh Rogers and Jared Philsell, Jake Burton for Brad Jones Racing, fourth. So we've actually got Ian Ford and Ethan Griggold next. So it's actually all of the Supercars teams, Bryony. First, second, third and fourth in terms of the teams.
And Richard Hampstead has actually made a change from the previous round. He's now competing in a Ford. So the rest of the drivers are Holdens. He's the lone Ford. So Ford fans, fly the blue oval flag for Richard Hampstead tonight in the next level race.
People complaining about that online last week. There was a bit of craziness going on. Everyone was trying to find the right run-up and sort of stick around and try and get a lap in, and they all tripped over each other, sort of like F1 at Monza.
Well, we've seen Nick Percat do that a couple of times in real life. I think the most memorable one was at the top of the mountain, wasn't it?
So everyone was kind of got that wrong at the end there. I wonder if we could have got a better lap in at the end had that not happened.
And again, you know, it looks like by the looks of things, people are trying to get a tow, trying to maximise their lap time, but sometimes it compromises you, and you don't get a lap in, and then you're starting last. So see what happens.
Yeah.
And big result for the Red Bull Holding Racing team. We know their success. So many times they've picked up a race win at the Bathurst 1000. But tonight, virtually, they get to start on the pole.
Yeah, no pressure for the actual Red Bull Holden Racing team come Friday.
Comes Friday
and then
Sunday,
Saturday top 10 shooter. But we've got Dane Warren on the line. Dane, hello, and congratulations on pole position tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Obviously a pretty good result for us. Coming off of round 2. Bit of an untidy lap from me, if I'm to be honest, but I can't complain either way, starting off the front row.
Spoken like a true race car driver.
Could have been better.
Dane, full of cliches there. Come on, you must be pumped to be starting off pole position for the endurance round tonight.
Yeah, of course. It's obviously a huge accomplishment being able to start off pole, but yeah, obviously the inner racer in me just saying it could have been better.
Now, I know you've done a lot of laps around Mount Panorama, but in the week leading up to this endurance round, how much time have you had on the sim? Have you been practicing a lot?
Yeah, quite a bit, because just recently moved over to some newer equipment from my old Logitech gear, so yeah, put in plenty of laps to try and get used to it as quickly as possible, and I think I might just be there.
Well done. Well, he's been signed by the one of the biggest teams in the sport. He's got a job to do tonight, and he'll be holding off the two Walkinshaw and Andretti United teammates. So well done, Dane. We'll let him get his game face on and ready for action a bit later. Like I mentioned, tonight's 50-kilometre race, almost goes identically to what we'll see on Saturday with Justin Ruggier's 250k race. How have you rated your opening season in Super 2? It is such a difficult thing. You've won Super 3. You've made that move up now.
Yeah, and look, it's been a very difficult transition, but I think one that, you know, very, very competitive, very competitive class, very competitive cars. So to step in there, and it's a big ask, obviously, with Dumbrell leaving our team too. But, you know, very grateful to be part of the team. And like you said, we had success in Super 3. Super 2, you know, the expectations are very high, and no different this weekend. We want to go in there and give it a red-hot crack.
Yeah, and the Eggleston Motorsport outfit always go well prepared. They're a top-tier outfit in Super 2. How have you found working in the dynamic of Eggleston Motorsport this year? I imagine you've received plenty of advice from the other drivers too.
And again, as you know, it's so important to be in a very, you know, a team that's well balanced, a team that can help, a team that can, you know, help you along the way. And for me, I'm very grateful again to be back on board with a winning team. I'm very grateful for the sponsors that have jumped on board to make it happen as well. And hopefully we can, you know, give them some success that they deserve. Me, Will and Perkins are trying very hard to get there, and I'm sure we will.
It's a good lineup. So that's the curtain raiser to the big one on Sunday. The Great Race is back, and let's hear what the drivers have to say about our favourite day of the year.
I think Bathurst is the all-round most rewarding but most challenging track all at the same time.
Mount Panorama, obviously, you know, one of the toughest tracks we have in Australia. Yeah, you never get a perfect lap around there, but when you do a quick time, it's pretty rewarding.
I played the Mount Panorama a few times because I had to learn the track when I came to race in supercars.
To keep the car off the walls over the top of the hill is a real challenge, and to carry enough speed down the hill, also staying off the walls, is also a massive challenge.
What's going to challenge the drivers most is actually just remembering more than 6 corners, which I struggled to do so. So good luck with that.
Yeah, those guys are wizards, they're aliens. They'll sort it out, and I'm sure they'll be a lot faster than any of us can go around them.
Yep, 23 corners to remember, to be exact, and it's a 598-point lead for Scott McLaughlin. Why am I exaggerating that so much? Because, Bryony, that is nearly 2 entire race meetings worth of points right there.
Yeah, it is. Of course, 300 points on offer for the Bathurst 1000. But apart, you know, we had a look at Scott McLaughlin. He's had a stellar season, absolutely no doubt. But think back a year or two ago, a mechanical failure put them out of the race. So, you know, you can be having a really good season, but anything can and will happen at Bathurst 1000. And that's what makes it so entertaining.
Yeah, we cannot wait to go racing. Remember that 11:30 a.m. start time for Sunday. Bathurst Sunday is going to be excellent this year. We need a very quick break. We're going to go racing very shortly. But on the way out, let's get to know a guy who's starting on the front row tonight. He's just won himself $30,000 for becoming the World iRacing Porsche Super Cup champion. His name is Josh Rogers.
I'd like to say I'm calculated. You know, you have to take risks, obviously, but they have to be well thought out. Qualifying is something that I often find I'm quite good at. When you're starting up the front of the field, it always makes the race just that little bit easier. It's always easier to try and hold position rather than gain spots. In terms of real racing in karting, it was obviously my parents. They've always been a huge supporter of that. Sim racing, very similar. I think it was more so a matter of mates back in the day, you know, obviously having a good bit of fun as a kid, and it just kind of stuck from there. The environment that you're in really plays a huge factor on how you can perform. And if you have the right people around you, people that can push you, you can obviously find your limits a lot easier and be able to kind of find your boundaries, which I feel like this year I've really been able to try and excel at that. You know, from last year to this year, the results have been night and day. For me, personally, I'm normally the humble guy. I don't like to kind of showboat. You do have to come in with a little bit of confidence, but at the same time, you can't be overconfident. I always want to have success in everything that I compete in, and if I can win this series, it's checking another thing off the list. Obviously, you always want to do something more than once, but if you can at least do it once, you can say that. So obviously, it will mean a lot to me.
you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
Shannons are giving you the chance to win this amazing Indian FTR 1200S. Plus, there's also a trip to London to be won to the Goodwood Revival, a true celebration of motorsport. To enter, just go to shannons.com.au and request a quote.
It's not the most enjoyable track to drive for myself personally, just because it is so hard. But once you actually hook up a lap around there, you get the setup right, everything feels good after you've done a bit of practice. Nothing beats nailing a lap around Mount Panorama.
Endurance format's going to be tough. That'll be, I believe it's a 41 lap race, so that's quite a long race around there at a 6.2k track. So tyre life is going to be really important there, and making sure no mistakes, because a mistake at Bathurst will generally end your race.
After turn 3, it's you've got to be committed. You've got to be absolutely on it. You know, one little mistake, car pushes here, or you lose the rear there and you go into the wall.
If you can get as close as you can to the wall, you kind of, you're making the track bigger. It's no different to looking at white lines on a circuit. On a normal track, everyone's always really close to the grass. Just imagine a wall's there. You know, you kind of got to do the same thing.
I think it's an amazing circuit to race. Like every lap, you're on the edge of dying, basically. I think the endurance race there will be pretty fun. It's like a normal length for what we normally race. So I think it'll be kind of back to basics, a bit of a pit stop strategy. And yeah, I think it'll be good. I just love every lap at Bathurst. It's always fun.
Bathurst is tough. You've got to have the car so on the limit, you've got to have it so well set up. I was fortunate enough to race there in real life last year, in the rain nonetheless, so that was tricky. For me, being an enduro, it's going to be about smart decision making, getting the car to the end, and just seeing if we can get the thing there in one piece. We should be able to snag a top 3. So this championship's going to be about consistent results.
Not too far away from going tonight with race 4 of the championship. Round number 2, we are live from the Gfinity studios in Sydney, Australia for the Gfinity Supercars E-Series. It's brought to you by Shannons, Bryony Ingerson and Super 2 driver Justin Rougier. Ready for this one, 250Ks, Bryony. What are we going to see tonight? Well, we see Madison Down continue on with that form from round 1.
Well, I don't know. If I had the answers, I would tell you. I think it's just going to be a cracker race, and really important what Jake just said about finishing. I mean, you can't afford to DNF this one here, particularly with the rules and having to drop, your worst 4 rounds. This means a lot. Triple points on offer here tonight, 150 points for the winner. And
it's the Triple 8 driver off the pole. Who are the standout guys here, Justin? You've raced with a lot of them before. Dane Warren, that's a big upset for pole because Josh Rogers and Jared Filsell have probably been the 2 tip drivers to win tonight.
To win, and that's the thing about this race. One mistake, you could be the fastest, but it's the smartest one's going to win this race.
How about Madison Down starting down there in 7th position? Got some work to do. And Emily Jones as well. A lot of online fans for Emily. We'll be hoping to see Emily climb up. Yep.
I'm here. I'm a real fan. I really want to see her do well tonight, and I think this will suit her because, as she mentioned, this is the sort of length of a race that they're used to doing, putting some more pit stop strategy into it. So I think she's going to go well.
Yeah, 250Ks is 41 laps, just over a tick over 90 minutes of racing. And we do have some strategy and some rules to counter into this argument as well. So our Melbourne-based pit reporter, Jonathan Simon, online right now. Jonathan, what are the basic rules that we need to be across for today's race?
So, of course, 2 compulsory pit stops for this round in comparison to 1 that we had for round 1 for each sprint race. But it's 2 CPS. And under the rules, CPS means you need to take 4 tyres. So that's going to be under question by all the drivers. It's going to be looked at by the stewards. But the fuel is going to be the biggest factor because we're expecting each car to start on a full tank. and they'll need to take about 95 litres in their 2 stops. Now, how you do that is up to the driver, whether you want to take 30 litres for the first stop or 60 for the second or vice versa. It's all based on context and track position. So that's going to be a real big interesting factor to watch out for during the race.
Well, Jonathan, what would you do if you were racing in this? Would you start with a full tank of fuel? And how long would you go until you do your first pit stop?
Yeah, exactly. You have to start on the full tank because to fill this car up from empty to full takes about 45 seconds. So if you can get that for free at the start of the race, you're saving about 15 to 20 seconds during the race just based on filling up the car with that fuel. So if I'm at the back of the pack, let's say around 9th to 12th position, and I've only got about 5 seconds to the litres, you might as well only add about 20 litres of fuel in the first stop and then do the big stop later on during the race with about 13 laps to go, and you could jump a lot of cars in the first stint.
Yeah, all right. Interesting. Thank you, Jonathan. We look forward to hearing from you throughout the race. Nice suit tonight. Keep it fresh.
Looking good, Jonathan. Keep it up down there in the pits. It's a very clean pit lane in iRacing compared to what we'll be dealing with on Sunday. So Jonathan's given us some tips to think about there. 2 stops minimum, both compulsory pit stops. You have to take on 4 tyres, but fuel is what you can play with. How willing do you think they'll be to pit early, given the potential tyre wear, and who's going to be brave enough to short fill early to get some track position?
Again, you know, for me, I'd be trying to stay with the leaders as much as I could, and then, you know, if you're mid-pack, again, have the leaders in sight, start fuel saving, and start playing the strategy game. And that's what it's all about, Bathurst. You don't have to be the quickest; you've got to be the smartest.
Yeah, so fuel saving is an interesting point, and this is something that Jonathan picked up on earlier as well. How much can you save around Bathurst? Is it all sitting in the slipstream, or is it rolling off the throttle? What are you going to be doing to save fuel?
Slipstream's one thing. Again, if you are in the slipstream, I wouldn't keep full throttle, 100% throttle. I'd be probably using 90, and that will amount to a lot of fuel saving at the end of the race. And again, we'll just set you up for the run home, really.
And what might get you a second or 2 shorter pit stop time? Is it bigger than that?
Possibly 5.
Okay, 5 seconds.
Wow.
Okay. So it's definitely worth hanging on to if you can do it. So they're on the grid and we are ready to go racing. It's the Gfinity Supercars Eseries. It's brought to you by Shannons, and this is Go at Bathurst. And what a way to warm up for the big one. And that is a really good start from Josh Rogers on the outside. They'll go side by side through the first corner. Dane Warren knows he needs to try and stick to the inside if he's going to catch and hold off that Walkinshaw Andretti United car, and he's done that. Watch out for the Brad Jones Racing car as well. Jake Burton tucked in behind them. The front 4 cars are on it here, and Burton swings across to the inside.
Is this a one-lap sprint race?
Man, how was that for a start? I think they know how important it is to get in front of those Walkinshaw cars early, and Dane Warren's achieved that with one of those cars, and it's actually Phil Sellers jumped to second, so not a great start here for Josh Rogers. Wowee, frantic first sector to this race.
It is so hard to follow though up the mountain, it really is. So as you can see, you're sort of blindsided trying to pick up the apexes and trying to pick your line very early.
I can't wait, Justin, to see you after practice 1 of Super 2 IRL, that means in real life, apparently, the young ones are all saying it, and see what it's like for you, because as you said, you know, this is a little bit of a recce for you, and you're watching this, eyes glued to the screen as we all are, but gee, I can't wait to come and talk to you.
I was going to ask if you go jump on that simulator and join the race and make it 13 starters, but yeah, you're right, I can't wait to do my first laps this Thursday.
So first lap of 41, and it's Dane Warren for the Red Bull Holden Racing team who leads us down Conrod. Josh Rogers is fishing here. He's very close to the back of the Brad Jones Racing car, close enough to make the move before we even get to the kink, and he's through. That was critical, and how about that for a slipstream, and must have got a really good exit out of the elbow to make that one stick.
Now this is the other important part for Rogers. If he lets the 2 litres get away, he can't fuel save. So he needs to get on the back of these guys.
Ooh, that's aggressive. Phil Sell up the inside, leaves him room at the exit. Bit going on early, and this could bring Rogers back into this fight for the lead as well. Phil Sell has the inside. Warren goes later under brakes.
Warren can't let him go, because I've got a feeling if he does, Phil Sell's going to be checking out, I think.
Warren's still got the inside. It's a repeat of the first lap between these two. On board with Rogers. Can he give his teammate a push up Mountain Straight? He's close. He tried, but the Red Bull car should prevail here on the inside. of turn 2. Don't tell me Phil Sell can hang out there. He has.
Unbelievable.
That is a mega move. If he makes this stick, he will, and we might just get a walk and short 1-2. Warren on the outside. Rogers muscles his way through. This has been a cracking start to this race. Hold your breath through Reed Park. Can they go side by side through here? Rogers has to pull out of it, and they're all bunched up behind the leaders as a result. But change to the lead, Jared. Phil Sell to the front of this race.
This is really allowed for Burton down to Madison down to really close up and close that gap, hasn't it?
A train of cars, Bryony, down through Skyline and to the Dipper. Brake lights on. Overcast conditions, lower track temperatures to what we saw last week when we had them well above 50 degrees. Should lead to much quicker times. Dynamic weather conditions built into today, but we're expecting it to be fairly overcast, and track temps expected to drop throughout the course of the race. So time should get quicker, and we shouldn't see as much tyre degradation as we saw last week. So it's all very much built into the iRacing model that you get fuel burning, you get tyre degradation, you get damage, all real life componentry built into this very realistic iRacing game.
And I'm sure you get elation and heartbreak as well back in the simulators all around Australia of these 12 world-class racing drivers. They are willing. There is a lot on the line here for them tonight.
Nothing virtual about the emotions and nothing virtual about the money that's up for grabs in this championship as well. Speaking of money, how about Josh Rogers, the driver who sits in third? There's a couple of big paying tournaments around the world and championships, Justin. And that Porsche Super Cup title, which he picked up, was one of them.
All right, look, again, you know, Josh has had a stellar year. I mean, we only raced him last week, all of us, and yeah, he polled by quite some margin. But thankfully we beat him in the race because of his misfortune. So.
Go again. Now, can he pull off the same move that his teammate was able to do around the outside? He hasn't quite got the room. Oh, throws the fake to the inside at turn 2. And that is aggressive.
I'm very surprised so early on, but obviously Rogers feels more comfortable if he can get in front and do his own thing.
How's the racing room given here? He switchbacks to the cutting and makes that one work.
That was a brilliant move.
Wow. Although Warren argues the point, pushes him wide. This is helping Phil Sell to open up a gap here. Rogers is desperate to get ahead of the Red Bull Holden Racing Team car because he knows that the leader will drive away.
This is going to test Warren really. A lot of pressure, like you said, latest world champion, you know, in iRacing. So it's going to definitely test him.
A couple of great exchanges already.
Great exchange. Nice one, Dan.
Thank you.
Just a reminder too that there are no team orders, or not team orders, but in terms of when they do pit, they don't have to double stack. So the Walkinshaw Andretti United drivers, the Boost Mobile drivers, get their own pit boom. So there's no double stacking involved like there is in a main series Supercars race. So that's handy. It's every man and woman for themselves.
Here we go, setting him up for a move at the chase. And that was very late on the brakes for the Holden Racing Team car, and he's managed to just hang on to it.
Warren's doing a very good job to keep this car behind him, but I think it's going to be over now.
Finally. Surely he can't fight back from there. Rogers keen to get that spot done.
They hit, man.
Well, Jake Burton's managed to slide through as a result, so the race leader getting absolutely jumped on here. Brad Jones racing car goes side by side at turn 1, and he also pushes him wide. And Ethan Green-Gould picks up the spot in the Boost Mobile car, and he's got his teammate Ian Ford for company. Greg-Gould picked up a podium last week, and I wonder if there's damage to that Red Bull Holden Racing Team car, because he is really on the back foot. Might have just lost a ton of momentum as well.
I think the lesson's going to be there for Warren then is if you just let him go and run with him, he wouldn't be in a position where he is now. And that's the unfortunate thing, is the risk that you take as a racer, as a driver. So he's in the thick of it now and probably going to be exposed to getting caught up in someone else's mess, but who knows?
Justin, that's easier said than done, surely. When you're inside the car, tell me it's not as easy to make those logical decisions.
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, it's, you know, you obviously create your own luck, and you know, I would have played that a bit differently, to be honest. But look, a racer's a racer.
That's right.
From a neutral point of view, it gives us what we want here in terms of Phil Sell versus Rogers, but it's a 1.3 second gap. for Rogers to try and reel in his teammate. I wouldn't mind seeing a teammate battle today. The only driver, it would seem, in terms of pace at the moment that could catch Phil Sell is his teammate. Now, this is exactly what Jonathan was talking about earlier. If you're in this battle pack, short fill that first stop. Imagine the amount of time you can buy by doing that. Now, obviously, you'll have to have a longer stop for your second stop, but it could be a ploy that's maybe worth looking at as we see a potential move here. Madison down, championship leader. And Dane Warren, third in the championship. And no change for position at the chase that time by.
And interesting, we spoke to Dane earlier and he said that he changed some equipment between the first round and now. And Jonathan, I'm wondering whether you have any idea of what Dane has changed and whether that's attributing to his racing so far tonight.
Not sure what he's changed, but it does take quite a while to get used to. As I see, Greg Galt made his way past Jake Burton. But yeah, again, it's all about muscle memory sometimes in sim racing more than it is getting used to it. I think with all his karting experience, I don't think he'll take too long to get used to a change like that.
Brave call though, wasn't it, to be changing equipment so close to such a big race. He would have given it plenty of test miles regardless. And up towards turn 2, we have that change for third. So Ethan Greg Galt and Bruce Mobile entry goes through, and that gap is already down to under a second. And Justin's got a look of approval on his face. He knows we've got a race on our hands here. He's taken half a second out of him.
I know Jared's a very confident kind of guy, but as we all know, if you've got someone like Josh behind you,
yeah,
I think you'd be looking in your mirror more than looking forward. So well, it's going to test him.
Last time by, the race leader did a 2:05.0, and the man in second a 2:04.6. And it's only a 1.3 second gap that's already down to 8/10. So we have a race on between the teammates. They've picked the right time to do that too, because we've got all 3 of the Walkinshaw Andretti United owners at Bathurst this weekend. So wouldn't they love a 1-2 heading into the great race this weekend? Across the top of the mountain we go, riding on board with car 16, our Fox Sports racing team, Brady Myers. Not a good weekend for Brady. He was really, really disappointed after the first night. Thankfully, they all went to the pub to drink away their sorrows and celebrate.
He's brought that gap down huge. It's down now nearly half a second.
So where is he finding all that speed? Is it just across the top, or is it in the big braking zones down the bottom of the hill? And he'll also have the advantage of being able to sit behind his teammate and fuel save too. So this will be a double whammy for Rogers. We are expecting there to be a little bit of an undercut on new tyres tonight, but the big scenario there, it's almost like a 250 kilometre race with a fuel drop in it tonight, similar to what you'd see at Adelaide or Newcastle, in that you've got essentially 95 litres of fuel to take on. It's just, do you take that on in different ways, with a big fill to begin with or a short fill to begin with, or 2 even fills of about 45 litres? We will find out. If you want to gain some track position early, that's how you can do it. But like we mentioned, it always means a longer pit stop later. Here are the 2 Walkinshaw Andretti United teammates, and what a start it has been for these 2 today.
It would be interesting to see if Jared wasn't using a lot of tyre, sucking in Rogers to make him push hard, and then Jared's starting to just itch away again. So there'll be a lot of mind games happening here, and knowing Jared very well, being on the same team, understanding how he thinks, be a good test for him.
Rogers has just knocked out back-to-back 2:04.6s. So 2:04.69 followed by a 2:04.64. So he's really trying to reel in the race leader right now. I get the feeling anything that he spends in tyre life, he'll be able to get back in fuel saving if he can catch the race leader, and just about is close enough to save some fuel.
There's a very good battle pack too for third place as well, so it's going to be interesting how that pans out towards the end of this fuel stint.
When do we think that pit stop window is going to open here? If you were to try and split the race into 3 even stints, that would see the first stop somewhere around lap 13 and 14. But there's always the chance of an undercut, someone coming in a lap or 2 earlier than that. Back to Dane Warren.
You've seen the front guys, they, for some reason they wanted to lead early, so maybe that's their plan. Maybe it's to try and maybe come in, undercut, get clean air, and then put the pressure back on second.
Well, Justin, you mentioned earlier that if you're in the mid-pack, that you might try a different strategy to get yourself out of that traffic. Out of the mid guys now, who would you pick as being most likely? Would maybe a Dane Warren now that he's down in 5th spot? Any chance that he might throw a little different strategy out there?
I think, you know, Dane definitely, but Madison would be the biggest talking point, being the series leader. He's got nothing, you know, obviously being in front of the points, but he really needs to gain a lot more. So I'd be thinking maybe he might do something to get himself up there.
It looks like whatever Dane lost before, he's just found, because he's gotten past Burton there for 4th place.
Yep,
change for 4th position there.
Also good to see the Bathurst livery on the Boost Mobile cars kicking in early. So if you want a sneak peek of what the 33 and the 34 is going to look like at the mountain this week, they've got the livery already updated on the E-Series tonight.
We'd love to hear, if you're watching on any of our streaming or Facebook, what your pick is for favourite Bathurst livery in the main series so far. We've seen a few unveiled. I think we've still got a couple to be released, but some very good-looking cars.
Yeah, the team we're riding the ball with right now have a bit of a Brocky throwback, which is cool. And here we go, battle for the leaders on. They've scaled it back a little bit, both driving 2:05.3s last time by. He must be quick across the top. That gap was 2/10 at the line last time. And now, does he go for the race lead or does he save fuel? Let's find out.
Definitely rolled out there.
Well, had half a chance to try and reel in the race leader and make that move stick there, but decided to roll off the throttle. I get the feeling he's quite happy there in 2nd spot for now. As long as they're driving away from the field, it's a good result. The rest of them can fuel save as much as they want, but they're never going to make that kind of gap back in a 41-lap race fuel saving.
No, they're not. And I think, you know, now, it's, you know, obviously between these two, be interesting to see what, you know, what pans out, what they do, who stops first, how much fuel they put in compared to each other.
So, Justin, here's a question. If you're Jared, you're leading, why wouldn't you let Josh past and then draft him and fuel save?
No, it could be two things. Maybe you could back Josh up to Ethan as well and make it a three-way battle, you know what I mean? There's a few ways of doing things, but look, for me, around Bathurst being the lead car or a lead car of a pack, the line of sight right now, look at Josh, how compromised he is. You know, he's got to pick the apex up, aero. You know, I'd rather be the lead car, definitely.
Jared actually scraped the wall at the entrance to the cutting. He's done that a few times already this race. Doesn't look like he's put a scratch down the side. It might have just been the mirror. But there's a few times that he's just grazed the wall at the entrance to the cutting. We'll keep an eye on that maybe next time by as we go in car with Josh Rogers. You're now reigning 2019 iRacing Porsche Super Cup champion. Pretty impressive, very impressive actually. He's just 19, turns 20 later this year, originally from Barrel, but now living in Gladstone. Already ticked off nearly a decade of sim racing and has won some very big stuff this year. He's the VRS GTI Racing World Champion as well. He's picked up 24-hour wins at Le Mans, Daytona, Nürburgring, all this year. Oh, he gets a massive push, but goes for the lead anyway at the chase. So no fuel saving here from the two. Change for the lead. Now, does he cover his teammate down the bottom of the hill? They need to be very careful about how they approach this. They've both got a very good opportunity to drive for Ryan Walkinshaw, who loves his esports. And they've handled that quite well. It was a good change for the lead. It was clean. Good hard racing between the teammates.
It's definitely got a bit of oversteer on exit, Jared, compared to Josh. So it's going to be, you know, Jared did use a lot of tyre at the first half of that race. Josh not so much, but we'll see what happens in the next, what eventuates in the next couple of laps.
Right, so a chance now for Phil Cell to save some fuel for his fuel cell.
You can steer the steering angle.
That's the worst joke ever, Chad. I'm going to use that.
That's yours. That is his nickname, actually.
Fuel cell.
Yep, makes sense. As you can see, overcast conditions at Bathurst, leading to lower track temps, leading to faster lap times. And looking down the order, everyone pretty much running low 206s. Brendan Hobson's having a tough race here. In the raw entry, 207.0 last time by. So he was just starting to fall off the back of the pack, 12 seconds behind the leaders. That's a cool view off the left-hand side. Wait for the dipper, here it comes. We'll get nice and close to the fence on the left. Oh!
Look at Rogers. Rogers is just driving the wheels off that car. Jared, I notice, is locking a lot of left fronts, if you notice. So maybe he's got a bit of an imbalance in his car, brake bias, different fuel loads, different tyre quality. And this is exactly what it's like in real racing. You know, we lose tyre quality, we've got to adjust, your bars, you've got to adjust brake bias, exactly the same in the sim race. So it's pretty relative.
All right, so it's a great start to 250 Ks. This is race number 4, round number 2. A quick break. The teammates are in control at Bathurst.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 1346 46 or go online today.
Thanks for your company tonight, wherever you're watching around Australia, live on Fox Sports, or wherever you're watching on our many streams around the world. We're racing at Bathurst for round 2 of the Gfinity Supercars Eseries, brought to you by Shannons, and we have a race on here at the moment. The teammates are pushing each other. Bryony Ingerson and Super 2 star Justin Rugia on the desk tonight for what has been a really big race so far. We've had one pit stop. Richard Hampstead has come in for his first of 2 pit stops, but the leaders have just been pushing and pushing. And Justin, they now have 6.5 seconds on the field.
Yeah, just in a class of their own at the moment, but I suppose, you know, later on in the race we'll know who had the raw speed between these two, but, you know, covered by, you know, a blanket at the moment.
Interesting to see that Dane Warren, the Rebel Holden Racing Team driver, has gotten past Greg Galt for third place, so he's about just over 6.5 seconds behind these two here. So, you know, he fell back through the pack for reasons unknown, whether it was mechanical or we need to take a look at the replay for the lead here, but he's got about 6.5 seconds behind these guys to see what he can do.
This is how the lead got changed earlier on with that really nice move through the chase. Rogers set that up really well and made it stick. And we also had this move going on. So Dane Warren, after being relegated back to 7th, made his way up through the pack nicely and managed to go from 7th all the way up to 3rd, set this up on Ethan Griggle. Shannon's replay got the job done. Under brakes at turn 2, so nice move and made it stick. We've also got more pit stops happening as well now. So Madison Down and Brenton Hobbs. So this race is coming to life. The leaders on track. Pit stops happening. Madison Down, Brenton Hobson all in the lane. Richard Hampstead the first to pit. So the strategies are playing out here, Justin.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, you know, again, this is going to tell, you know, do you go hard on your new set of tyres? Do you conserve? It's just, it's all mind games, you know, and I suppose at the end of the day, you just got to give it a crack and see where you fare up.
So we're seeing pretty similar pit stop times. Madison Down at 23.5. So 2 extra seconds spent in the pits. So we go back to this great fight between the front two.
Jared, you can just see how he's using Josh as a mark, you know, turning in just a fraction earlier, but you see how hard he's driving. I mean, it's just a car, look at that, the oversteer, just amazing.
Justin, this must be very similar to the driver's point of view in the race car.
Yeah, it is, definitely. And I'm looking at that and I'm hoping my car ain't going to be like that in the real life.
It's a long day for the rear end, is that twitchy?
But in saying that, I might ring Josh and ask him for the setup after this race. That might help me too.
So we have seen pit stops early on here, and I wonder what the advantage is there to be gained. Jonathan, our Melbourne-based pit reporter, what have we seen already?
So Hampstead's already jumped Madison Down with the undercut. I think the tyre drop off late in the stint's about half a second to a second, because it's pretty cold out there out on the track, only about 30 degrees track temp. But most of all, they're all filled to a full tank, so it means Hampstead, Down and Hobson, I think, will all have shorter second stops. There's Phil Sell, I think, is in the pit lane.
Yeah, Phil Sell in, and behind in the Brad Jones Racing Dunlop entry of Jake Burton. Will they go for a shorter pit stop? It was about 23 seconds stationary time for Madison Down and Brenton Hobson. That one extra lap cost them 2 seconds in fuel time. So that's the difference between doing an extra lap. It's about 5 litres of fuel per lap. So that makes sense for why it would take the extra 2 seconds to fill up. Oh, here we go. The fight is on up Mountain Straight. Brady Myers on the inside in the Fox Sports entry. And was that on Ethan Griggle down at turn 2? So Ethan's car starting to fall off a little bit with the tyre life. It's Ian Ford we ride on board with. And Myers moving through to 4th. But we are now starting to see some pit stops. So it's 4th on the road, probably about 5th outright once you include all of the drivers who have made their first pit stops. Oh, and he gets the fence too at Silman Park.
I was just about to say, I'd like to see Brady have a good run tonight. He came off of the last round where he had 2 pit stop penalties, finished 12th in both races. He really needs a good result tonight.
That was a long night. Poor guy, done for speeding the pit lane while leading at Monza. It was not a good night at all. Then he had another one at Suzuka as well when he was on for a good result there. So Dane Warren fighting here with Ethan Griggle. Now this is essentially for 3rd at the moment. It says 2nd on the left-hand side, but that is because we've had a pit stop for one of our 2 Walkinshaw Andretti United cars. Phil Sell drops to 6th as a result.
I'd probably try, if I was these two, I'd probably try and go a bit longer in the stint if you could. There's enough gap there behind to sort of do a different strategy to the front two and try and have better tyre life towards the end. When saying that, they've both pitted, so.
All right, so it's a pit stop race between the 2 of them. Everyone going for a pretty... Wow, how's the aggressive entry for The Dane Warren car on the way in cut some time back. Brady Myers also in the lane.
Yeah, you've got to run. You know, if Ethan went in, you'd have to follow suit and go with them and stay with them.
All right, so Greg Galt, Warren, all in the lane right now, and the race leader who's dropped it away.
Wouldn't you love to be able to do that in a pit stop? Just drive through the car straight front, come out unscathed.
His tyres are rotating, I think, before they drop the car. It's a bit rough, isn't it?
Now watch out, because this is the fight for the lead. Here comes Jared Filsell. Where is car 2? Gee, that
checked out big time.
Rogers got out of there. So he's surely taken on a shorter fill time. 10 seconds stationary. So that's a really unusual strategy. So everyone else is filling up.
Unless Jared had damage, maybe fixed damage, a bit of damage in the stop.
No, everyone's gone for roughly the same pit stop time, apart from 2, Brady Myers and Josh Rogers. So Rogers 10.3 seconds, Myers 16.2. Everyone is about 23, 25 seconds. And the fight is on here. Get my head out of the timing screen for a second, because we've got Brad Jones Racing versus Red Bull Holden Racing Team. Everyone's pitted apart from the race leader.
Is there some damage on the front left of Warren's Holden? I thought I saw it when he turned the corner before.
It might have been from the earlier scrap we had with the 2 Walkinshaw boys. So it's all happening at Bathurst now. The pit stop sequence has really shaken things up a bit.
I wonder if he made a mistake on his outlap or something there for Jared.
He definitely dropped back a bit as a result. It's about right though. So yeah, Rogers' fill time of 10 seconds, 15 seconds shorter than Jared in pit lane. And the gap between them right now is 16 seconds. So it does add up to be about right.
Okay.
It'll come back in the race later when Josh's pit stop is longer.
I'm surprised with Muggleton too. He's definitely been around a long time as well, and got a lot of credentials, especially on the sim scene. But you know, it's just so hard to get the right setup in this car to be fast.
He had a really tough opening round as well. He was another one of the guys who was a little bit disappointed off the back of night 1 in the Knight Rider Designs entry. The team at Knight Rider have done a great job designing all the liveries that we're using in iRacing tonight. Championship leader Madison Down, another driver who's having a bit of a rough time tonight. 23.5 second pit stop. So about average. This hasn't quite had the speed that we saw from the opening night.
And again, you know, you look at the lineup, they've all got high credentials, the whole field. And again, you know, 1/10, 2/10, it's like the real racing, you know, you just give that away in your seconds at the end of the stint.
So a number of drivers buying a little bit of track time early. I'm surprised that Josh Rogers had such a short pit stop time. He really needs to make the most of that gap that he's got now, because his next pit stop's going to be a big one. And the gap is still sitting at about 16 seconds between the 2 Walkinshaw and Andretti United teammates, which are first and second in this race once Ian Ford comes into the pits.
Now, Ian's obviously got up to about lap 22 to do his first pit stop. That's about how long you can run on a full tank of fuel, assuming that he started with a full tank. But we're looking at the onboard here from Madison Down in front of Richard Hampstead, and as we just touched on before the race started, Richard swapping from Holden to Ford for this event. I'm assuming this event onwards in the 28 Next Level Racing car. Holding his own at the moment, I've got to say, really neither here nor there. Justin, in terms of changing makes in sim racing, how much difference is there as we speak Ian Ford pitting from the lead of the race? How much do you have to get used to, or are they very similar platforms?
For me, when I've done it, I feel it's very, very similar platforms. I suppose, you know, for me, racing a Holden manufactured car doesn't make it look good being in a Ford, but yeah, for me it's the same, to be honest. I've never noticed a difference changing. The GT3 cars definitely, but not the supercars.
So Ford finally pitting in a Holden, just to confuse things a bit more.
That's your second lame pun tonight.
I thought that one was all right, actually. And we'll watch the field go scooting by as a result. Unless he wants to short fill, he's going to go and fill this tank up by the looks of it. Still waiting on fuel, 28.8 seconds, so the longest fuel time out of anybody. So the entire field has now taken their first pit stop. Everyone needs to pit again, and that pit stop window will be open somewhere around lap 25. Depending if anyone's brave enough to really push for an undercut any earlier than that.
Madison's going to have to be very smart the way he passes, or if he does pass Richard. He's probably one of the hardest guys, probably another Rick Kelly sort of guy to pass. Yeah, Richard's very good at simulator racing. And yeah, Madison's going to have to pick his spot.
This is a really good battle pack that we're watching now. They're queuing up behind the lone Ford in the field. Next level racing sims entry of Richard Hampstead, then the Shannons team, championship leader Madison Down, and then one of our Supercars teams, Red Bull Holden Racing team. Pole sitter dropped back early, but did take on a lot of fuel. So had the second longest pit stop out of anyone, went for a full tank of fuel on lap 13. The others who pitted late decided to take on less fuel, and as a result he's gone back in the pack here. And it's left him with some very undesirable track position here, Justin, so he's going to be burning some time here. He needs to pass some cars.
And again, you know, just watching that onboard, you know, they're going down to first in the elbow just to get the car to turn. So again, everyone's got a different setup, the way the car rotates, and for the Dane, first gear was, you know, ample for him.
Are the gears that they use in a sim lap here similar to the gears that you would run?
Oh, there's a bit of a jump in the back then, yeah.
I think he just missed the gear there after that hit.
In your Super 2 car?
Yeah, it is, mate. Pretty much spot on. We won't be using it first though on the elbow, unless it's pouring down rain.
Well, it well could be, who knows.
That's the Richie Stanaway technique, that one, for the elbow. And we should get the change here. Madison Down under heavy fire. Goes back behind Dane Warren, who's passed more cars than anyone tonight. On board with Jake Burton, Brad Jones Racing, Dunlop car just pulling out of that move. Up Mountain Straight. Just follow this. I've got the pit stop times all written down, but I can't take my eyes off this battle at the moment because it's not over yet.
You can just see that little fight that they've just done. Richard's been able to clear out sort of 5-6 car lengths up the road. Again, they're just this lock-up. So Madison just had a bit of a lock-up then in the cutting. And again, you know, I'm not sure. When I used to race on the sim, you were playing with brake bias, so sort of the heavy stops, in the lighter stops, you know, to bring it back to the rear a little bit. So again, you know, these little lock-ups, a bit more tyre usage, a bit of understeer with the lock-up too. And you can see now he's starting to get away.
What sort of adjustments can you make in car during race?
Same as the V8 Supercar, so anti-roll bars, front and rear, brake bias, exactly the same as what we do.
So late into a stint when the rear tyres go off, soften that rear off to hopefully get some better drive out of corners just like this one. Madison Down definitely struggling for speed tonight, almost polar opposite of what we saw a week ago. On board with Burton, he is setting up a move.
His last lap, Madison's was a 2:07 against Rogers at 2:04.9.
If he's got bent steering or something similar, because he's just vulnerable everywhere at the moment. And there goes the Brad Jones Racing car. They were sharing a beer after the race last week. They're sharing the racetrack down there at the Chase, and that is the change for position, 7th place.
Yeah, it was great to have Brad Jones in the audience, in the live audience for the first round, the opening round of the Gfinity Supercars Eseries. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few team owners in this series and probably 1 or 2 supercar drivers eagerly watching on tonight for this endurance round 2.
Well, here we go. Man, Dane Warren is on an absolute charge. He is driving the wheels off this thing. And this will be about the 5th or 6th car he's passed tonight. Put another one in the mirrors. There goes Richard Hampstead.
It's definitely very fast. I don't know if that damage is hurting him as well, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him right now. But as it gets closer to the front, faster cars, we'll know if it is hurting him.
How should make you think that when he did lose that bunch of positions earlier, that maybe it was just, as you said, Chad, just the momentum. Just
Once you get put on the outside.
Not sucked in, sucked out.
The train goes past.
That's a thing, isn't it? Getting sucked.
I think so.
The train.
You never want it to happen. It's never a good thing to have happen, but sure. It's exactly what happened to Dane Warren, regardless.
And you see that in all our classes too now, main series, Super 2, Super 3. I mean, if you're in the big paddle pack, you know, get out of it, let them pass.
I should get out of it.
Bryony stopping at the next station. She's also in a 2-stop strategy tonight. So Rogers, Phil Sell, that lead gap now 17.9 seconds. So he's driving away from him. The difference in their pit stops was about 15 seconds.
Haven't seen Emily Jones for a while. Where's our sister? She's currently P9, so not too bad.
She might be 10th in a minute here.
Yeah, she made up a couple of spots.
Here comes Josh Muggleton in a hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a long way back at the chase to make that one stick.
Come on, Emily.
And Emily gets the wiggles on, but just pulls that car up. And they're off the road. And here comes Ian Ford to try and snare them both. Couldn't quite get done. The workplace law entry is being pushed hard at the moment. That was very close.
Reminiscent of the, what was it, McLaughlin
to the
Wing Cup and
There's no readdress there, I don't think.
The redress and rejoin incident, which handed the win that year to Will Davison.
To the car I'm racing.
The car you're driving
this weekend. Pretty cool.
There's a bit going on then. Stakes slightly lower for these drivers fighting for 9th at the moment. But as you always see in supercars, every spot is seriously fought over. And there goes Ian Ford. So got both of them then. Well done.
Even Pino.
Yes. As you reminded Scott Pye last week. And how about the drive from, nearly the drive from Josh Muggleton trying any purchase on those rear tyres out of turn 2. Scott was a great guest last week on the desk. Had a lot of fun watching his, I guess, teammates at Walkinshaw and Andretti United pedalling pretty hard.
Emily's holding her own here in this battle. It's good to see.
It's a feisty one. She did take on a shorter fill time in comparison to the two that are around her. She has the 3rd shortest fill time earlier, 20.6 seconds. In the workplace law entry. They were a raucous bunch last week.
They sure were. She was very popular in the live audience last week, and it was interesting to hear her say in that package we watched before the start of the race, she said every lap around Bathurst feels like you're dying. I think she means as in you're just literally holding your breath, you're hanging on, you're white knuckling it. I don't think she means literally dying, but is it like that sometimes, just as it get that intense you forget to breathe? And
I think you definitely do. And again, you know, watching this, it's amazing. Like when you're actually racing online, it doesn't feel as nervous, and it's nervous me watching these, you know, Emily and Josh and all the likes nearly hitting the wall every corner. But Emily, yeah, she's a very good racer, and it's really good to see her doing so well.
Gee, that's commitment, and it's almost a repeat of what we saw last lap. Oh, Jared Muggleton to be pulling his hair out. Josh, Jared's his brother. Josh Muggleton pulling his hair out, overcooking it down there at the chase. The two of them do a lot of racing together. He was regaling us the story of the time his brakes failed in a Volkswagen going through turn 1 at Goulburn.
Yeah, Josh is pitting now.
And I wonder if that's because the rears on that car were just about gone. Now, this is the critical lap. You can get home just from lap 19, but he will have to be very careful on a full tank of fuel from there to get home.
Yeah, I think for him, if he just hits his marks, he'll probably be able to jump a few and not make mistakes. But looking at his onboard, he's definitely not comfortable. Car's got a lot of understeer, a lot of oversteer, locking up wheels. Yeah, I feel for him. And like I said, he's another credentialed driver.
Fight for 3rd here. Justin is on between Brady Myers in the Fox Sports Car and the Boost Mobile entry of Ethan Griggle, who's driving beautifully tonight. They're fighting for 3rd, and for Myers, he had the shorter fill time. 16.2 second pit stop compared to a 24-second pit stop. So nearly 9 seconds difference in the lane.
Well, Ethan's actually matched Jared's last lap, so that's just showing how much speed he's got. Unfortunately, he's a fair way down the road from him, but I think just concentrate on trying to clear the guy ahead and make it happen.
Justin, we spoke a fair bit before the start of the race about the benefits of fuel saving and drafting. I personally don't feel like I've seen a lot of it in this race. Is that just because the drivers haven't had the opportunity. It seems like there's a lot of intense racing going on.
Too fast spread.
Yeah.
Look at this, just letting him go by. So not wanting to fight that fight. So very smart approach.
I think that's a smart approach too.
Just rolled off it, let him by. Didn't put up too much of a fight. And now might be able to save some fuel actually, if he can keep pace with that Boost Mobile car, because that is flying right now.
Brady also had a very short pit stop, 16, just on 16 seconds.
Second shortest. So Josh Rogers had the shortest first pit stop, which means he'll have the longest second stop. Brady Myers, second shortest first pit stop, which means he'll have the...
Well, actually, Josh has just come out. We saw Josh just into the pits. He's just come out. He's on 14.82, so a short pit stop for him as well.
But that would have been a full tank from there, so you didn't have that much room in the tank to fill. The advantage of pitting there is you'll have the shortest fill time out of anyone, but you'll try and get 22 laps out of a set of tyres. So it's a big, big ask to get home. In the Super 2 race, if it went green, you'd be doing it on one stop and you'd be pitting just about then, lap 19:20.
Thanks for reminding me, man.
We have got super safety cars to watch out for, though, for you.
Yeah.
As we see that move again, just wiping the right side mirror on the wall up towards the cutting.
What's your favourite part of the track, Justin?
I think right now is this section probably over the top. Seeing so many people watching and camping, and might even sneaking away to a few people I know up there. So
both hands on the wheel, Justin. Both hands on the wheel.
I could do it easy in the Aussie car, but Super 2
I want to see both hands on the wheel for at least the first practice of Dunlop's Super 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Bathurst. Goodness me.
Watching the action down in Melbourne, Jonathan Simon, we've seen the first of our second stops. It's a long way home for Josh Muggleton from there.
Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to get a set of tyres home for 22 laps, so he's going to struggle there from the last position at the moment. But the also critical gap between Rogers and Phil Sell, if Rogers can keep Phil Sell above 15 seconds, at the moment it's 19 and a half, I think Rogers should maintain the lead after the second stop.
Yeah, it's looking good at the moment. It was about 16 seconds after the pit stop, and he has been driving away, at least on the time card, to 19 seconds, nearly 20 seconds. So overall, at the moment, it's looking like Rogers with about a 3-second advantage over his teammate.
At what cost, though, would it be for him to be doing those fast laps? Like his last lap, he was half a second faster than Jared Filson.
Well, he's certainly using a lot of fuel and certainly using a lot of tyre to do it.
When I used to be extremely active on the V8 supercar scene in iRacing, we used to have a spotter who would actually log in and understand how much fuel usage you're using, be able to tell you.
Really?
Yeah, be able to tell you, use more, use less, instead of you doing it.
You bring up a really good point. So the first point there is, as the championship leader takes his second stop, no spotters allowed in this championship, so you're not allowed to have the help.
Yeah.
And secondly, you're a race car driver and engineer, aren't you? Because you are guessing the fuel numbers as you go and fighting the other strategies. You don't have someone in your ear saying, box now, and then putting the right amount of fuel in for you. You are doing it all from the seat.
It makes it hard because back in the day, like I said, I mean, we used to have the spotters, and again, you seeing what people, how long they've been stationary for, did they take all 4 tyres, how much fuel did they take, and then straight away you're in conserve mode to sort of pip them and jump them out of the pits. So if you've got to do this all on your own, I suppose, in this modern day, like my steering wheel that I've got at home, I've got a dash that tells me how much fuel I need to get home.
Wow.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So it makes life a lot easier than what it used to be.
And they can change strategy on the fly as well. Yeah. So they are working on Conrod Straight to change what they're going to put in fuel-wise in the pit stops while they're driving.
Justin, you're married.
Yeah.
If you asked your wife to be a spotter for you in an iRacing race, would that be a deal breaker?
I think I've got my 2.5-year-old daughter more likely to spot for me than my wife.
So there is Jared Filsell, and at the moment looking very nice indeed for a Walkinshaw Andretti United 1-2. More pit stops to come, more laps to come at Bathurst.
motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
We are racing tonight at Bathurst. Hope you're enjoying the coverage as we go 250 Ks in the Gfinity Supercars Eseries. It's brought to you by Shannons. Chad Naylor, Brian Ingerson and Justin Rougier calling the action. We've had some early pit stops, and how about this fight going on at the moment between Richard Hampstead and Jake Burton going across the top through Skyline and a big slide at the back of the Dunlop car.
Easy for you to say.
Yes, apparently. So Burton fending off the only Ford in the field at the moment. We are past the halfway point, and this is how these two squared off in the ad break, going down through the chase. Justin, that is about as textbook as it gets at Bathurst.
I'm actually impressed because every time I try and pass Richard, we hit each other. So well done there, my friend.
So he's away here, and away goes Jake Burton. Can he try and chase down the guys up the road? How is he looking pit stop-wise? 25.5 seconds in the first stop, so his next stop's going to be at 14.5 seconds. It's roughly 41 seconds of stationary time in the pits to take on the 95 litres of fuel. You can split that 41 seconds either way you want. But the race leader, Josh Rogers, he went 10.3 seconds for that first stop, so he's looking at 30 seconds fill time in that next pit stop.
His lap times at the moment are so impressive. Like his last lap at 2:05.3. So he's half a second faster than his Walkinshaw Andretti United teammate, Jared Filsell. And then almost a second faster than third-placed Ethan Grigol. So he's pushing for sure.
He's really,
Whether
really
that
pushing.
will come back to maybe play a part in the end of the race, towards the end, who knows? But we haven't really seen that from him yet, have we?
To be honest, his lead's so big, it doesn't matter about fuel saving and tyre wear when you've got as big a lead as he has. So it's 21 seconds over his teammate. And his teammate's going to have a 15-second advantage in the pit stops. That's still 6 seconds.
Don't forget, this is Bathurst. You know what I mean? Again, being the fastest person on the track, yeah, it's relevant and irrelevant. You know, one slip up, and you can see how hard he's driving that hard. So he's risking it all still. Very, very impressed.
More pit stops. Looks like Brenton Hobson in the raw entry on his way out of the lane. Where will they come out in comparison to the traffic? And back onto Mountain Straight.
I'm not sure that's Madison down because he's already completed his second stop, hasn't he? So
he's in.
Might have been Emily Jones, we're hearing now, who's taken the stop, and in comes the race leader with a very, very, very aggressive entrance into pit lane. Getting caught speeding on pit road's a pretty good way to lose your 6-second lead, but hopefully for his sake he's been able to get that car stopped just in time.
I think his crew are still having donuts. They're not out in pit lane.
You can come in and pit, but we're all eating ice cream, and his teammate is in as well. So final stops for the race leaders.
Wow, he's committed in there.
And as we've mentioned before, even though they're racing for the same team, they have individual booms, so there's no double stacking or anything like that we see in the real supercars world.
So it should be a long stop this for car 2, the race leader on the left-hand side. Nearly 30 seconds I'm expecting. As his teammate pulls up, it should be about roughly about 15 seconds less, I guess. So about 15-second pit stop time for him, and they should leave about 6 seconds apart.
Cool.
We're about to find out how close the maths is. There goes the race leader. And there goes Filsell.
It seemed like 6 seconds.
Might have a little bit quicker than that, didn't it? So that is now officially the gap between the two of them. And the other thing here is they have dropped back behind some traffic. So I wonder if traffic might play a part in this race as well. Maybe the X factor that we've not looked at here could be clean air.
Just goes to show how confident Josh is at the moment, you know, winning all these titles. I mean, you can see it in his driving too. He's hitting his marks, you know, his race lines are millimetre perfect. yeah, hats off to him. But I mean, it's still a long way to go in this race. And I mean, for Jared, you know, he needs to press on and try and hunt him down.
So it's Ian Ford who'll be next on the road, and that'll be for position. So Ian doesn't really have to get out of the way of car 2 if he catches him. Remember, Ian went really long in that first stint, and he'll have a really short pit stop time coming up later. Probably doesn't want to get caught trying to fight him because it's really not for position.
Knowing Ian for so long, I've raced with him for many years. He's a gentleman to race against. Extremely fast, very consistent. But I don't think he'd give Josh any hassles. But he might have another agenda that we don't know about.
Maybe. That might just be the little X factor that Jared needs to try and catch his teammate. We'll be able to tell you what that gap is. It's sitting at 4.9 seconds at the moment. So he's been able to take a second out of him in that last pit stop. Is it enough to try and reel him in, though, from that far back with so few laps left? Dane Warren, is he going to pit this time by? Yes, he does. Which should just leave Ian Ford as the last driver to pit in this race for the second time. Oh, gee, that's aggressive.
Might try that this weekend.
Yeah, try that for your pit stop, mate. We saw Jamie Whincup do something pretty similar at Coe this year. Got away with it. So car 2 goes back in a second in the race. I know Ford has come in this lap as well, actually, judging by our timing. Yes, so that now means we've got a Walkinshaw Andretti 1-2 on the track. Where's Dane Warren going to pop out? He was fighting for third with Ethan Grigol before the pit stop scenario. And there goes Ethan Grigol out the windscreen now.
This is on.
This is on, ladies and gentlemen.
Target
if
acquired.
You're at home, grab a choc top, grab some popcorn, sit back and enjoy.
We can do that here at Gfinity.
Well, we can, can't we? I think a couple of the Red Bull representatives enjoyed a couple of choc tops last week, last round from memory.
That was the wheel spin that the 38 just got over the hill. That is a wild piece of racetrack in the real world. Your stomach and everything gets pushed up into your rib cage when you go over the hump at Mountain Straight. Ditto that over the hump as well across Conrod. It's a mega racetrack, this one. Over 150 metres of elevation change from bottom to top. Up to the high point of the track now, across the top of the mountain. And that is exactly what Justin and the crew will be looking at on Saturday. That is curb to curb, wall to wall.
Pretty cool.
Big time commitment at Skyline. Second gear, will he keep it in second down through the dipper? Yes. He's pushing really hard right now. You can see the guy who wants to pass. There is a podium and a trophy up for grabs here.
Yeah, back to first. Short shift to second on exit.
Try and get that drive onto Conrod straight through the kink that leads you down this amazing bit of road. Flat stick, sixth gear, nearly 300 kilometres per hour in a supercar.
He's going to have to try and get into Ethan's lead, the gap, early on in this stint, so then he can have a bit of a breather at the end to make a move if he's got the car underneath him.
Further back, this looks like Burton on the charge here with Ian Ford, who's come out of all of this in fifth spot. So his really short pit stop time has paid off quite nicely. What he did there was actually have clean air for a large amount of napped laps. So we saw all those drivers fighting through the middle part of the stint. Not Ian. So his big, long first stint meant clean racetrack and a chance to pop out inside the top 5. Boost My Ball Racing with 2 cars inside the top 5 tonight.
And if you can't run with the front pack, you need to readdress or just reset yourself and just run your own race. And that's what Ian's done. And bang, P5, thank you. So he's done really well.
On board now with Brady Myers. As we mentioned before, really hoping he can get a good run here. He's probably sick of seeing the rear end of Madison Downs' car. I mean, it was a good rear end, but he'd probably rather see clear air in front of it. That was a good, solid pass there by Brady.
That's the job
picking up another point.
Madison's never that easy to pass, so he must be struggling. It's unfortunate to see him struggling here at a track that I've seen him very strong at.
The championship leader could be giving up the championship lead tonight. Rogers and Philsell had okay first rounds in the championship, but maybe Dane Warren will be championship leader by the end of this one today. Hard to pick. Josh Rogers, 150 points for a race win today, might be up there, but he's still got a long way to go as we tick over 1 hour in the race.
Rogers and Philsell, the only cars at the moment under the sub 2 minute 5 second bracket of 4.7 and 4.8 respectively. So they're gassing it, pushing even harder.
Damage on the Fox Sports car as well. It's lost the right front quarter panel on that car. Wonder if that's going to change it in a straight line at all, Justin.
I'd say it would. I know on this model, but yeah, it's unfortunate, but very easy to do around Bathurst, as we all know.
So it could be a busy end of this race. There's a little battle pack forming here between Myers, Down and Hampstead. Hampstead had a really good opening round of the championship, sitting second in points. So first and second in the points are sitting 8th and 9th in the race. So they're going to give up a chunk of points tonight. Shannon's car gets really close to the back of the Fox Sports entry. So the championship coming in today was Madison Down first, Richard Hampstead second, Dane Warren third. Dane Warren fourth on the track and trying to chase down Ethan Griggould. Could be a really good day for the pole sitter. Josh Rogers fourth and Jared Philsell fifth. So by the end of the day, it could be Rogers, Philsell, Warren the top three. I get the feeling it's going to really change things up.
Ethan Griggould's really been impressive tonight. He's been there or thereabouts before and after at each pit stop. He seems to have found something tonight, don't you think?
Well, he picked up third the other night at the Monza race. Outside of that, a 7th and an 11th at Phillip Island and Suzuka. So didn't really make the most of his night here, apart from that one good result in the reverse grid race. But looks a different driver tonight, doesn't he, now that he's back home and using his own gear?
He's going to be under a lot of pressure from Dane there.
Richard Hampstead looks to be the quickest driver in this little fight. 2:05.6 last time by. 2:06.9. Madison Down really struggling with that car.
Must have damage or something that we interested to talk to him after this and find out what the issue was.
Two quickest drivers last time by. Josh Rogers, 2:04.9, the race leader, no surprise, and 2:04.9 Dane Warren. Like you mentioned, Ethan Griggould is going to be under pressure. That gap down to 1.2 seconds. See those gaps changing live over on the left-hand side, as well as the lap times ticking by as Rogers gets ready to finish another lap.
These two are no strangers to fighting it out with each other. Hampstead and Madison for years and years, you know, championships won and lost between these two guys. Be interesting to see how Richard takes this to him.
Oh, Justin, every time we go down Conrod, I think of you and what you're going to be thinking when you go down it for the first time in Super 2 practice at the Bathurst 1000. You've got to be committed. You've got to, dare I say it, have some pretty big balls to get through there. Are you nervous about that part of the track?
Look, I'm never usually a nervous racer, but to be fair, this time round I am nervous. Yeah. I think the pressure, the anticipation, being in a Bathurst winning car, adds to it all. But as many people say, you need to respect this place, respect the car. Exactly. And if you can do that, like always, that's my approach to every track I go to. Hopefully it all falls into place. And as we speak, Richard's going to try and make an attempt on passing Madison.
Yeah, Madison slipped coming out of turn 1 on the curb. Just had a bad exit, and that's all it took. It's a momentum game. And there goes Richard Hampstead to the next level forward.
And as a driver,
highest place forward in the field.
You said my jokes are bad tonight. That was actually pretty good. I'll give you that one.
So look at the drive, he's just getting off the exit then. So it's as a driver too, seeing a car pull away that quick after only 2 turns, it's demoralising really. But Madison's a smart racer, and I'm sure he'll try his best to sort of capitalise his losses.
You can drop some races in this championship. It's 14 of the 16 races count for points at the end of the year, so this could be one that he drops tonight. You wouldn't want to be dropping the Bathurst race though, because it's worth so many.
No. Well, I'll tell you what, the fastest driver on the last lap was actually Dane Warren, the Red Bull Holden Racing Team, 38 at 2:05.2.
4/10 quicker than the guy he's chasing too. So 3 laps time, we'll have a fight for third, judging by those numbers.
He's in that position now. He'll be picking up maybe a little bit of a toe.
You have the eyes on, the eyebrows on, the eyebrow on soon, Dane. He has a mean set of brows.
Yeah, he does.
The eyebrows very much pointed towards Ethan Griggold. This fight going on at the moment for 7th position. Jonathan down there in Melbourne watching the action. That was a bit of a power play, that one from Josh Rogers, to open up such a big lead.
I liked what he did. If you think about it, he and Jared ran, what, the same fuel load for the first stint. Josh short fueled and was lighter for the second stint than Jared. And now in the final stint, they have the same fuel load. So Josh has found a way to run a lighter fuel load and a lighter car and gain that 5 seconds on Jared, who has similar pace to him. But some drivers talk about having the heavier fuel load because it just keeps the rear end planted, but I'd rather run a light, to be honest with you. And finally, talking about that damage you were talking about for Brady Myers in the Fox Sports entry, I think he sustained that. I had a look in his onboard cam, and he sustained it at Frog Hollow at, what, 200 kilometers an hour? That's a big hit. If Justin hits the wall that hard on the weekend, his race is almost done.
I'll come and see you, mate, if I do.
Get your return trip to
Bring your tools with you.
Oh, I think Rachel Eggleston will have you well and truly bent over at that if that happens.
Oh, no.
Give you a good spanking. You don't want to do that.
No.
What did he say? Frog Hollow?
Frog Hollow.
What is that? Is that a term that I'm not familiar with?
It is a part of the track.
Right.
Yeah. Won't be on your track map.
No.
Yeah.
We're all looking.
It's an old school name, Frog Hollow.
Okay, gotcha.
As we go over the top at Skyline. And we're inside the last quarter of this race. Myers still pushing on. That Fox Sports car wiggling around a little bit. I think Hamstead's the quickest in this pack. Myers doing a really good job to hold him off.
The laps are starting to wind down now. Game face on.
Gap between the leaders, 5.7 seconds. Gap for third is down below 1 second now. And this fight is on, and maybe we'll make this move stick. Hamstead on the outside, on the marbles. They'll go side by side and bang! There goes Brady Myers.
Take that.
Oh, Brady left him so much room. It was good, and then Richard just sent him.
Is that what they call a don't argue?
Yeah.
I think it was after he was so nice to him at the chase as well. So change for position. That was a push and a shove. Get out of my way. Richard Hamstead goes up a spot.
We haven't actually mentioned all night that we do actually have a driving standards observer.
Yes.
Which we have. Hello, Craig Dontis.
Yes, Craig Dontis. Had a chat with him after last week's round. He really enjoyed it.
Exactly. Who does sit and observe this whole race. So, you know, you can't bump and run or bump someone off without being either looked at or penalised.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it tonight, but yes, we do have one.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not,
Yeah,
we do have one.
we did have a couple of small penalties, 5-second penalties handed out for bump and runs last week. That's very different to an old school bump and run. It's not bumper to bumper. That was more door to door.
Be nice to see the onboard to see what happened there. But
if he opened the wheel up a bit. Fight for third, right of screen across McPhillamy to Skyline. Dane Warren, Red Bull Holden Racing Team, on for another podium at Bathurst. In their way, Gary Rogers Motorsport. It's been a while since we've seen GRM on the Bathurst podium. That's Boost Mobile Racing's Ethan Griggold in third, driving beautifully today.
might ask Brady how his neck is after that hit. Poor fella. Seemed to move around a bit in the car.
Good shove.
Lap times. He's slowly sucking him in, though. Dane, this is to Ethan. It's now under 0.7 of a second. Look, I think we're going to predict a battle in what, about 3 laps, 2 or 3 laps? Would you say?
He was catching him at 0.4 a lap, and it slowed down a little bit.
What's important for Dane now is because the laps are starting to wind down, you're conscious that time's running out. So you really need to get close because one thing's catching, the passing round is pretty tight.
The benefit he'll have this time, as opposed to when he lost a huge amount of spots with the, what did I say before? Sucking out the train or whatever I said incorrectly, is that he doesn't have anyone or a train of cars right behind him. So he probably can, Justin, would you say, afford to be a little bit more aggressive in trying to get past because he's not going to lose a whole heap of spots.
Yeah, right now it's, you're not going to lose anything really, apart from a few car lengths. So you can risk it and do it. In fairness to what you were saying before, Chad, Richard was definitely the fastest out of that bunch as well. So he's starting to pull away from the other 2 drivers.
So third in the championship then. Rogers and Phil Sell, the two Mobil 1 racing teammates, are going to haul in the points tonight as well. They sit 4th and 5th in the championship. And what a week it's been for Josh Rogers. If he can, the icing on the cake, that was the iRacing Porsche Super Cup World Championship with a win here tonight.
It'd be interesting after this if Courtney or Scott Pye will get in contact with these boys and ask about setup. And I wouldn't mind actually getting that set up myself. But
well, we did see Jared Philsell at the Bend Motorsport Park in the Walkinshaw Andretti United garage, probably observing. But you're right, the tables could be turned. He might be invited into the garage at the Bathurst 1000 for a couple of tips. Of course, Scott Pye competing with Warren Luff in the number 2 Walkinshaw Andretti United car, been on the podium twice over the last couple of years. And yeah, James Courtney and Jack Perkins. And let's not forget our American friends, the Walkinshaw Andretti United Wildcard, Alexander Rossi and James Hinchcliffe.
Pretty Taronga Zoo today.
And they did their first laps of the mountain in a road car. And we'll be seeing that on the Fox Sports 506 trackside telecast tomorrow.
Looking forward to that. 1 or 2 wild cards in the field.
Interesting to see their take on their first time IRL around the league.
Be pretty cool. He's catching now.
Yeah, last time by, 2/10 quicker again. Bit by bit.
Unfortunately for us, Josh is still pulling away from Jared as well.
It has been a pretty commanding performance, this one by Josh Rogers. Now that he's back at home and in his own setup, he's pretty quick as well. It was a pretty consistent night for him. 2nd, 6th, 4th for Josh Rogers in the opening night. 2nd in qualifying as well. So he does a lot of racing around the world in different setups and different sims. Had the very first run last week, just he got off a plane from Germany that morning.
That's a pretty cool story.
Where he was racing in the Porsche series over there in Germany. So knows how to drive in different setups. Does a lot of karting as well. A lot of these guys with real life racing experience. I heard earlier Jake Burton saying that he raced last year in the Toyota 86 Championship there. Madison Down has Aussie racing car experience, a championship that you're currently leading. I think he raced at Homebush, I think it was from memory. It's in he did. Yeah. Josh Muggleton has a lot of racing experience, more so in production cars. So not just handy in the sim, they're handy in the real world as well.
Yeah, it's a very good tool for a lot of real racers, and again, even for you know, people that can't afford to go and race. I mean, you're still racing against the best real race drivers in the world too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having said that, I mean, a good setup at home will cost you a little bit of money. You can get a great Logitech setup, obviously, for not that much. But what's a kit setup worth that's going to be pretty competitive on iRacing?
Oh, look, again, like you said, you know, Logitech kit will make you a bit, you know, somewhat very competitive. I suppose, you know, you look at a kit that I've got at home, it's upwards of 14 plus K. So they're not cheap, but again, you know, you got to understand, you know, sometimes we're on the sim for 4 hours or 3 hours at one time. You got to be comfortable.
Yep.
You need to be able to concentrate. So the old chair on a timber, you know, with a Logitech wheel on a desk, those days are gone, well and truly for me. Yeah, but yeah, they are expensive, but you can get some good gear.
What's the most important element for you? Pedals, wheel? Is it the sim itself, the rig?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that. Early on, I had just a normal TV screen, and mate, I could not sleep for weeks because of the hertz, the pixels and that. Just my eyes, man, I couldn't sleep. So yeah, I went and got proper screens, and now I could be on there for hours and hours, no headaches.
Much to your wife's delight, no doubt.
Yeah, my wife's delight, definitely, yeah.
I just want to interject to you because I've got a message from our good friend Richard Crail, who's watching online while he's packing, and he said Frog Hollow is the area between turns 8 and 9 in the vicinity of the metal grate, which I think we just passed. But thank you very much, Richard, for adding another name to our already long list of turn names.
And it's proof that there's...
And good luck packing. We'll see you up at the mountain, Richard.
He's a legend, that bloke. There's
not a race at Bathurst that Krales he won't watch, and that is living proof right there.
Yep.
He'll be calling the action for Carrera
I've learned something tonight.
Touring Car Masters from Hollow. I'd heard of it. I didn't know the exact point of the racetrack that it was. So when you can learn something about Bathurst, it's a good night.
Right. Throw that one into commentary across the weekend, chat.
Trust
the 89 support categories that we're calling.
I think the one that freaks us out a lot is the grate. That's what sticks in my head as the great. So.
We've seen a lot of cars come undone there over the years, haven't we?
And Crockett.
Yeah,
My
Crockett.
God, that's
There we go. Closing stages of this one, and still the favourite goes on. You say it's over, but it made you laugh, so I'm ticking that one off for the tonight.
Yeah, what I'm very impressed with Ethan. I really am. I mean, the amount of pressure that he's under, and he's still maintaining the gap.
Can you turn the mirror off altogether?
Yeah, I think you can, but you wouldn't want to, though. You wouldn't want to.
Because he's going to need to know where this attack's coming from, and it might be this time by he's close, and last time by he was just a tenth quicker, but it's enough. Can he get the slipstream to make a move? Not this time at turn 2. Go on board with the man who sits in 4th, and he is hunting right now.
Could be oversteer from Ethan. He's trying to get on the gas there early to pull away, but
do you like being the hunter or the hunted here in this scenario?
Hunter.
Yeah. It's a tough spot to be in when you know you've got one of the best ripping up the racetrack to try and get around you. Tyres are starting to slide around. They all pitted pretty early in this second stint. Great strategy played by the race leader tonight, but he's also been the fastest. So it's been a perfect 10. Got everything except the pole tonight. Back-to-back front row qualifying performances though for Rogers. Second at Phillip Island, second at Bathurst. Next time up in 2 weeks' time in the lead up to the Gold Coast. We'll be back here again for the USA rounds of the championship. Sonoma, Watkins Glen and Laguna Seca, which is going to be very, very cool.
Very
I think Californian races.
I think the move's going to be on. I've got a feeling he's going to go up the inside this time around.
Here it goes. Slingshot well and truly engaged. It's going to be late. Pulls out of the slipstream. No. Not quite close enough. With the pit stops out the way, there's no need to save fuel from here. Unless, well, it depends how much you put in that second stop, I guess, but surely you would have given yourself enough to be able to race without fuel saving to the checkered flag.
Laps are winding down, but I know for a fact there is still some of the main series supercar drivers and teams watching online. I'm going to give a shout out to, I think, some of the, I'd have to say some of the best supercar sim racers. Fabian Coulthard, Tony D'Alberto and Scotty Mack. All love getting behind the wheel and doing some sim racing, and no doubt they will all be eagerly watching the end of this race. Let's hope we can get a DJR TP car.
Yes.
The Gfinity Supercars Eseries. Hello, Ryan Story, if you're watching. Make that happen for next year.
We've been working really hard to get the Mustang ready for iRacing. We've been getting a bit of fan feedback about that.
All right, Fabs, I want to see you and a Mustang on the Gfinity Supercars Eseries grid in 2020.
I want to see a Pro-Am. I think that'd be really, really cool. The pros being the sim racers, the AMs being the supercars drivers. Although there are a number of supercars drivers who are quite pro, especially Scott McLaughlin. He's very, very good and has a good setup at home.
Well, and we love what Scotty said actually earlier in the package when he said, you know, these guys, as in the sim racing guys, they're wizards. He's like, they do a much better job at this than I would. So, you know, credit where credit's due. He knows that behind the wheel of his car, he does a great job, but these guys do a great job in the sim racing.
Don't forget SVG too. I mean, teaming up with Max Verstappen on the weekend. I mean, how cool is that story, you know? So
SVG hasn't won a Bathurst yet. No.
Been close.
One of the very, very big names hunting for their first.
I'm sure Shane and his cohort Tom are probably watching on as well with their choc tops. Enjoying the last 4 laps of this race, no doubt, preparing for a big, big week.
One of our Bathurst rookies starting his first Bathurst 1000 this weekend. Tom Randall has a very serious sim setup at home. He had none other than Rubens Barrichello over at his place, cutting some laps in his sim the other day.
Just casual.
How cool is that?
We used to get Leon quite a bit too. Lee's a good mate of mine, Lee Holdsworth, and he's really handy on the simulator as well.
Do they all use their real names?
Yeah.
You know, I reckon, yep.
Okay.
They get hassled quite a lot.
Yeah. I know some very famous NASCAR drivers used to use, what's the word? You know, the name when it's not the real name.
I use Chad's name when I go on.
Yeah.
They used to use different
that
names.
guy's slow. Oh, wait, it's Chad. That makes sense. Alias?
Alias.
There you go.
Thank you.
Last few laps. Are we going to see a change for third? Really good job holding showing him off here.
You can spot Chad in a sim race because it's the one with the tissues flying out the window.
Thank you.
He's always blowing his nose.
Thankfully, in a virtual world, I'm free of that. Turn 2. Leaders, they've checked out. They're out of there. Walkinshaw and Gfinity United are on for a 1-2 today. How good are they going? Like I said, all 3 owners in that team will be at the mountain this year, including Zach Brown, which would be really cool. Michael Andretti, his 2nd time at the mountain. And, of course, Ryan Walkinshaw, famous Walkinshaw name at the mountain once again. And I don't know what it is. They could be having the worst year imaginable, and they can show up and take a win or a result at Bathurst. They do it every year. Never write off Walkinshaw and Gfinity United at the mountain.
As you know, Perkins, 1 lap down, they come back and win the race. And that's
My favourite race ever, Justin.
This is why this race is so good.
Bronny was a huge Larry Perkins fan.
Huge. I had a golf called Larry.
Yep.
And Jack's a legend too, so I'm very fortunate to pick his brain and him being part of the Eggleston team this weekend.
Okay, this time by, is he close enough?
Now, I think with Dane he should have passed him, because now Ethan knows this is where he's vulnerable. So all Ethan needs to do is probably just cover if he can. But
comes. Oh, again, he just runs out of road before the kick.
This is the thing, because he didn't pass him that lap before, Ethan, from a racing perspective, it's that's where he's going to have a crack.
He's going defensive now as well, so starting to compromise himself. He has to really slow the car down mid-corner to avoid any chance of a switchback. Well, the games have begun for 3rd on the road, and there aren't too many laps to go. 3 to go. Get the feeling we could be setting ourselves up for a Shannons classic moment of the night here, if the 38 can make it stick.
Madison looks like he's on the back of Richard too, looking at the time sheets here. It's only nearly half a second away.
Back at the beginning, but has been picking them off one by one.
Miss Frog Hollow again.
It's gone. Get to be quick.
I know.
Frog Hollow around, yeah.
Richard's going to be back on the phone again.
Yeah. We'll leap onto it for the next trail.
Hop onto it. And we're going to be close again down Conrod, maybe. When they get to it, there you go. Missed it, Frog Hollow on the left-hand side. And now up towards McPhillamy. And down we go through Skyline.
Can we tune into Josh live or have a chat with him?
To him, race camp style, Dick Johnson style.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. It's going to be very, very quick. We will try and chat live with our race winner at the conclusion of this race and give you the 3 Shannons classic moments that you can vote on for your chance to win $500. This time he's not quite close enough, is he, down Conrod? He's also on for a big haul of points tonight. 4th in a triple points race is a good score, so he doesn't want to risk that. Oh, it's close. Really close through the chase. 2 laps to go this time by.
Livery of the boost car looks really cool too.
Great, doesn't it?
Preview to what's to come at the mountain. Can he wipe the speed off again mid-corner? He's not got it this time. The overlap is just there.
Done it, I think.
Oh, he chases him over to the fence and covers him. He tried to set him up twice for that same move. He'll try again here at Mountain Straight. Watch Grickle try and wash off all that mid-corner speed. Maybe with the momentum this time. Where does the 33 go? He parks it on the right-hand side of the road. The 38's got the side draft here. And Dane Warren has to go the long way if he wants this at turn 2. Hold your breath, because here we go. Oh, that is identical to the last lap of the 2013 Bathurst 1000 between Winterbottom and Whincup. Almost a snapshot of what happened between those two. And the Red Bull car ended up on the exact same centimetre of racetrack that J-Dub finished on, but he will have one more chance at Conrod and then a whole other lap to try and make this stick. Good battle, this one. He's passed so many cars tonight, he just needs to pass one more.
That's what I mean before about being patient sitting there. So he caught him real quick, but look how hard it is to pass. And Ethan, to his credit, hasn't really put a foot wrong. I don't want to put the mocker on him, but It's really impressive me.
It's been really good defence, clean defence, tough defence. At no point has he really driven him wide. The only thing that's been sort of borderline dirty pull is slowing him mid-corner, but he's just hanging onto a podium at Bathurst.
He's a racer, mate. Yep. That's what you do.
A bit of understeer, and then it turns into a wicked oversteer at the exit, so not this time by ruined his entrance on the Conrod. He's trying. The leader's about to start the last lap. How's the gap? They've got entire length of Conrod, just about 6.6 seconds between Rogers and Philsell. Last lap of the race. 6.2 Ks to go.
Very impressive drive by Josh, and again, you know, racing him last week. Very, very confident young kid, and you know, hopefully we get to see him do the transition one day into cars and see what it's like. There we go, last lap.
Missed the apex there at Murray's and nearly cost himself then. So last lap, last chance. There's about 2 minutes in this motor race to go. For these two drivers fighting for third, and it's been on since the second pit stop.
Where's your take? Where do you think he's going to try and do a move?
It's going to be down Conrod. It has to be. He's been so close, but he needs to get a really good exit out of the elbow to make that stick. Maybe the Matt Campbell move at the entrance to the elbow would be a good one. Wide then at the entrance.
Just backed it in. He locked up the rears. He's trying so hard to catch him because he needs to get to him before sort of near the grate to sort of have any chance.
Meanwhile, at the grate, here goes the race leader. He's doing it comfortably. Backed it off at 206s now.
So we heard Neil Crompton say a million times, through Frog Hollow for the final time.
He's bought himself a ticket to the end of the race. It's the last hour.
Is he out of fuel? No.
I think he's just cruising. He's back down to a 206.0. It's getting me like that. Could he be setting up a formation finish? He's back. I think he's backing it off for the 1-2.
Oh, okay.
That's my take on this, because they've got the world's biggest lead.
Stopped. I thought
when you see him going this slow on the last lap, you go, oh, no, don't tell me he's out of fuel. I think he's going to give the team bosses what they want to see here. The Mobil 1 Racing 1-2 finish.
Okay, there you go. He's not out of fuel then.
This has been a commanding performance from Josh Rogers. What a week it's been for this 19-year-old, recently crowned a world champion in iRacing. He's waiting for his teammate to be crowned the winner of the 250k race. They have signed two of the best here, and they are going to check in for the perfect finish. It's 1-2 for Walkinshaw Andretti United at the Mountain. What a sight that is. And the party begins at Mobil 1 Racing. And the fight for third, no. He has been looking at that Valvoline badge for about 30 minutes. And that is how they finish. Great drive, Ethan Greengold, his second podium of the year. And that's some side-by-side burnouts.
Tandem burnouts, love it.
Imagine multi-21 and Jared passed him over the line. That would work out really well.
I like this. Side-by-side teammate burnouts up Mountain Straight. And that was very, very cool to see. Two Boost Mobile cars inside the top 5. That is going to help their charge in the championship nicely. Ethan Greengold and Ian Ford, good results for them. Further back, not sure how Jake Burton will feel about 6th and 8. He had some pretty good race pace, just couldn't get that thing going where he needed it. Hampstead drove all to 7th. Madison Down will probably lose the championship lead tonight with 8th.
Brady Myers redeemed himself a little. I think he'll still be disappointed with 9th. A solid effort from Josh Muggleton. Brett Hobson couldn't quite find the purple patch tonight, and Emily Jones rounding out the 12.
Oh, Jonathan, how about that commanding performance from the teammates?
Brilliant, and they're back to the form that we expected, isn't it? You know, these two were really tipped to dominate the series, and I think without that Porsche Esports Super Cup commitments now, they can have full focus on this series, full pace, and it's just a remarkable finish too.
Yeah, what a way to do it with a 1-2 across the finish line. Doing it comfortably tonight. Well done to the entire crew at Walkinshaw Andretti United. And Ryan Walkinshaw is seriously into esports, so this will mean a lot to him. He'll be really, really happy with this.
I think you might need to talk to the boys about their burnouts, though. It's a bit weak, I think. But anyway, I'll leave that for him to
probably
talk
Well,
to.
just see how big a burnout you do when you win the 250.
Oh, trust me,
race
I'll be
on,
back on rims. There'll be no tie to assess
It'll
at
be like
all.
Summonats, and you win it. That'd be awesome. Well, you're in the right team. Eggleston Motorsport have won that race a few years now, dating back to when they had none other than a superstar in Paul Dumbrell driving that car in the 88. This year it's going to be Justin Ruggier. We wish him well on Saturday. We're just going to be seeing exactly that, aren't we? But maybe there'll be the safety car, I imagine, on the Saturday race. Haven't had a safety car for E1. 2 last year. Actually, 3 last year. The 250k race. And that was really, really entertaining. It started with a flurry of moves to the race lead, particularly between the two Walkinshaw Andretti United teammates and Dane Warren, who started off the pole, dropped back to 7th, and then had that awesome drive to get back up through the field.
He had that train problem that we've
Yep.
discussed,
Yes.
which I'm not
That
going to try to say again because I got it completely wrong. Redeemed himself back up to 4th position, but I think it would be a bit disappointing with that.
All right, race highlights from Mount Panorama. Race 4 of the championship. Really good start from Dane Warren and Josh Rogers, but it was actually Jared Filsell who got the jump off the start here and managed to pick up some early spots, got his teammate there, and they went scrapping all the way up the mountain. How was this for a first lap? Justin, this was fun.
Mate, very surprised about how aggressive everyone was, but again, I can relate from online racing is, clear view, clear track, you can control the race.
There's a lot at stake in that early lap. And there was Burton, who had really good qualifying pace further back, and this was 38 trying to get his way back through the field. Like we said, he dropped all the way back to 7th from pole. How about the move for the lead? That is a sweet, sweet spot to get the job done. Rogers swinging around the outside of his teammate at the chase. And that was it. Never really gave the lead back. Yes, we had the pit stop sequence play out. And further back, these two had pretty much a race-long battle. So 38 got the job done there, but through the pit stop sequence, they swapped back again. And after an early pit stop time that was a bit longer than those around him, the Red Bull Holden Racing Team driver dropped back again. Bit of a snakes and ladders game for him tonight. Had to pass a lot of cars. I think it would have been 7 or 8 cars that he passed tonight, Dane Warren. This is one of them, Richard Hampstead. Nicely done. It's the FGX Falcon back spot. Further back, this was pretty wild, wasn't it? Nearly 3 wide. Poor Emily Jones ended up finishing last tonight. Maybe with some damage, 2.8 through her last lap, so maybe it was tyres, maybe it was damage, but either way, not the result that she was hoping for. Final pit stops, and the 2 Walkinshaw Andretti United teammates with a ton of time up their sleeve. And on the other side of that, Dane Warren set sail to try and catch a podium spot. He was thinking at this point it was going to be between himself and Ethan Griggoult for that final spot on the podium, and that's what it was on the other side of the pit stops. And then there was this cool battle. How about Madison Down tonight, Brownie? It wasn't really his night.
What did you score? Brownie?
Brownie
Okay.
points?
No, it wasn't. We just didn't fire at all, did he? I think he'll be really disappointed with that. But this was the battle right until the end of the race. The battle for that final podium position. As you mentioned, was almost like reliving the final of the 2013 race. Not to be in a form finish. How fitting for Walkinshaw Andretti United. Josh Rogers taking the win. Jared Filsell in 2nd, and Ethan Griggoult coming home in 3rd. Dane Warren couldn't get past him on that final lap, so from pole position to 4th. Look, still a solid haul of points for those top 4, but I think Dane will be disappointed that he didn't capitalise on that pole position.
Again, it's all a learning curve, If he looks back at the race, if he just consolidated that spot, run with him, he definitely had pace to burn.
So if he'd listened to you...
Yeah, I couldn't talk to him. I tried ringing him, but he wouldn't listen.
So how about Josh Rogers? What a great night it's been for him. What a week it's been for him. Let's chat to him right now. Josh, firstly, congratulations, mate. You put together a very good race then. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was, what a race. It was on edge consistently. I think that the colder track conditions certainly meant that you were kind of more so pumping out qualifying lap after qualifying lap rather than, race laps and trying to take care of the tyres. But yeah, all in all, it was epic, and the Walkinshaw Andretti United BF Commodore was on rails tonight, so thanks to the team for that.
What a week you've had, mate. First the Porsche Super Cup win, and now this, you're on top of the world.
Yeah, it feels great. I think, the last few months have certainly been a lot better than what I expected, and the result tonight, not only for myself, but also for the team, it's really good. And hopefully it pushes us up
pushes us up in the championship standings a little bit, which should be good for us. But obviously, it's a long season.
Yeah, no doubt it will, with triple points on offer tonight. Are we going to see you at Mount Panorama this weekend? Or where are you watching the great race from?
I'll actually be watching it from home, obviously on Fox. Unfortunately, it was the plan, but hopefully we will be going to the Gold Coast, so that'll be a good one and an exciting one as well, with the cars on 2 wheels most of the time. So, yeah, I'm ready.
Well, no doubt you'll be hoping to see another form finish of Walkinshaw Andretti United. Great result, Josh. We can't wait to see how you do at the Americas in 2 weeks' time.
I was hoping you're going to come past and give me your spring rates and brake bias and yeah. So you're more than welcome to come past, mate. Just don't tell Ryan. He'll be right.
Well done tonight. Josh, congratulations, buddy, and best of luck for round 3.
Really stealth.
And if you want to send some tips Justin's way, he'll be more than willing to take those off your hands.
Here's a tip. Don't ask for secret tips live on Fox Sports 7 or live stream.
How good is that from Josh Rogers? Well done to him on the win tonight. Time to check out our Shannons classic moments from night number 2. Well, lots to talk about. We've got 3 moves to check out and 3 different drivers. And the first one happened very, very early. Let's take you back to the beginning of the race, lap number 2. The Walkinshaw Andretti United drivers are putting on some moves. And how about this one from Phil Sell on the outside of Dane Warren? And he was fighting and fighting and fighting for the lead of that race, and he just got it done there. How about that for a move on the outside? How risky was that manoeuvre on lap 1?
Just makes me think of Murphy and Ambrose.
Yes.
But they made it happen, made it stick.
Yeah, it shows you how tough it is to get through there side by side and what is at stake. So that is the first one. Remember, you can vote for these moments. It's worth $500 for the winning driver, $500 for our home viewer, just like Dave Neighbour, who's picked himself up $500 for the kitty on Sunday, Bathurst race day. Let's check out now number 2 on our list for the Shannons classic moments. And again, it's the Walkinshaw Andretti United teammates. And is Josh Rogers about to add $500 to the $30K he won earlier this week? Because there's also $500 up for our best driver of the night in the Shannons classic moments. And that is a sweet move, Justin.
Oh, it's huge. And I mean, look at the commitment and the confidence. Didn't even lock up a brake. Didn't impede his teammate at all, and drove away and won a fantastic race.
So remember, if that's your move of the night, be sure to go online and vote for Josh Rogers. Now it's time to check our 3rd and final Shannons classic moment of the evening. And we had to give at least one shout out to the guy who started on pole. He finished 4th overall, but for mine, he was maybe the driver of the race. He really got put on the back foot early, but man, did he pull off some moves tonight, Brian.
You'd have to give him the Hard Charger Award, wouldn't you, for this race? Yes, definitely passed nearly every car in the field at some point.
And cleanly too.
And cleanly, exactly.
He didn't do anything wrong, so...
He raced the wheels off it and got Hampstead for that spot there. He went pushing and pushing, tried so hard. It would have been one of the moves of the night. Got caught on the marbles. Tried the wing cut move on Winterbottom back in 2013. Couldn't quite make it stick, just like J-Dub tried and failed back in 2013, but points for trying. That was really, really cool. Remember to go online. Voting will be open at the end of the show tonight, and you can pick your favourite Shannons classic moment, and you and the driver could both be winning $500. That wraps up tonight's Shannons classic moments. Wow, what a night it's been. 250 Ks, 41 laps. Let's finally debrief with the race results off the back of nearly 90 minutes of action. And Justin, it looks a bit like this. There's a famous Bathurst podium. And what a race. 1/10 of a second. Yeah, it wasn't quite the true tale of the story.
And again, I mean, the guy, he's just on top of the world at the moment. And got to take your hat off to him. And well done for a fantastic drive.
Further down the field, good to see 2 Boost mobile cars inside the top 5, Bryony.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ian Ford kind of flew under the radar. We didn't see a lot of him tonight during the racing, but to finish 5th, I think, was a really solid effort for the new dad, Jake Burton from Dunlop Racing in position 6. Richard Hampstead, the highest finishing Ford. Yes, I'm going to use that joke again.
Well done.
Wasn't funny the first time, wasn't funny the second time either. In 7th, Madison Down, our championship leader coming into this round, will now be, well, I don't doubt he'll be in the championship lead.
Find out
be pretty disappointed with finishing 8th. Brady Myers, Josh Muggleton, Brent Hobson, and Emily Jones in 12th.
All right, so that wraps up what's been a big night of racing, but we've still got a little bit to talk about who's going to be leading this championship. We'll find out on the other side of our final break. Don't go anywhere.
you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London for the Goodwood Revival, an amazing celebration of motorsport covering the 40s, 50s and 60s. Plus, there's also the chance to win this, the incredible Indian FTR 1200S. To enter, just go to shannons.com.au and request a quote.
Okay, Dad, decorations.
Check.
Fluids.
Oh, yeah.
Pole position.
Checkity check.
Psst.
Murray.
Panorama, Muzz. 1,000 Ks.
No ad breaks. Have you done enough?
The question is, Murray, can you go the distance?
Dad! We can do this. We have it all.
1,000 Ks, no ad breaks. Can you go the distance?
It's been a big night at Bathurst. 250 Ks, and it's been a big day for the Walkinshaw Andretti United team. 1-2 at the mountain. What a way to start their Bathurst week. Can they continue that form through to the main race on Sunday? Well done to Josh Rogers and to Jared Filsell on picking up the victory tonight, and a commanding performance. Maximum points for them tonight, and well done on the side-by-side burnouts as well. Got to check that out. And that was a lot of fun. Brian Ingerson and Justin Ruggier, Super 2 driver, who'll be on track this weekend, enjoying all the action. And there was plenty. What a fight for third there was as well. And it leaves us, Bryony, with this championship scenario, and it's all changed at the top.
Wow, it sure has. And as we've mentioned, of course, this was triple points, so 150 points to the winner, as opposed to the regular 50 points for every other race this season. Jared Filsell jumps up to second, 214. Dane Warren in third. Ethan Grid-Gold, 172. Madison Down, I think, down into 7. So that has been a costly race for him tonight.
Yeah, and remember, you drop your worst 2 races up until the end of round 4 of the championship. So there's a lot to talk about there. But for a guy like Josh Rogers, his worst result right now is about 6 or 7. So he's going to be looking pretty good either way. So nice job from the 2 teammates. Let's talk about what we've got coming up this weekend as well. Bathurst is going to be huge. It doesn't just include the big one on Sunday, but the top 10 shootout, lots of support action, and your chance to take centre stage on Saturday afternoon for something very similar to what we just saw.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal knowing that we're heading to Bathurst. I'll leave early tomorrow morning to meet up with the crew, do our track walk, do our prep, our data and everything. So to hit the track Thursday, do our first laps, V8 supercar. I don't think it gets any better than that, to be honest.
Well, you mentioned before about how cool it is to race around the top of the mountain because you can hear the crowd and waving. I guarantee you, $5, you will be not noticing any of the crowd on your first few laps around the mountain.
Maybe the outlap I will, but after that I'll make sure, it's a massive weekend for us, obviously, and for many teams. I think what's good for me is Will and Jack Perkins are doubling up, so obviously their feedback. So I'll be hanging around them like anything, trying to get some help, and I'm sure they'll look after me as much as Eggleston will as well.
Well, you've got a new fan right here. I'll be your cheer
Brian's going to be
I'm going to
cheering
stand
you
up
on.
at Frog Hollow, wave my
the Ruggier
flag.
Yeah, best of luck this weekend, mate. We mean that. Thanks for being such a great part of tonight.
It's been great having you here.
A lot of fun, and we get to go racing again in 2 weeks' time with round 3 in the E-Series. That's October 22 before the Gold Coast 600, and it's the Americas, so some big tracks there as well. Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Laguna Seca. And remember, all the action is live on the Bathurst channel, and plenty of ways to watch it this weekend as well as we go racing with the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. It's this weekend. Enjoy Bathurst Day. Thanks for watching tonight. We cannot wait to join you in another couple of weeks. We'll see you then.